Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain to you the painting project and some of the supplies you need during instruction, some of the lessons you want to teach before actually giving the project, and also some of the work that can be done either at home, or you can make it a field trip, or it can even be homework. Okay? Now let's first start with the supplies.
All right, so you can see my supplies here. I have first my project and all the activities that I have printed out. Also, I'd like to have rulers available for kids. That way, you know, if you're going to measure the room, a simple way of doing it would be using a ruler, or you can also use a tape measurer. You can see the last supply I really have is a calculator. This, again, can be student specific, and a lot of times for this project, I let them use you know, a calculator for it.
Okay, so there's 4 different types of lessons you're going to actually teach for this project prior to actually doing the project. The first one is actually calculating area of a square or rectangle. On this page, you can actually download some activities that I have, and you can either teach you know, area of a square or rectangle in a way that you normally teach it, or there's actually a video of me teaching area or rectangle of a square or rectangle on the site. So you can actually, if you scroll down on this page, you can see there's a video of me actually doing that instruction. So you can also use that along with my activities that you can also download. The second one is going to be calculating surface area of a wall. Again, you can download my activities, and you can also watch the video. You can have your students watch the video depending on, you know, how you want to go with the instruction. The next one would be calculating surface area of a room. All right, so this is like the most advanced part because you're taking all 4 walls and you're making the room the surface area of it. Okay, now the last instruction would be measuring. And since this is what I typically think of as like a 5th grade project, I try to keep the measurements a little bit simple. So what I do is I actually teach them how to measure to the nearest foot. Instead of doing inch or half inch, we actually do it by the foot. So we're keeping, you know, fractions and decimals out of this, this particular project. Now, once you've actually taught those 4 lessons and you have them ready to move on to the project, we can start talking about the project now. Again, you can download the actual project right off the site, and you can see what I have here is I have the actual project, and there are steps of it. The first is finding the cost of supplies. My painting supply sheet, it looks like this. Again, you can download this, and you can do a couple different things for this. You can have either kids do it in class, have them look it up online. You could assign it for homework. You could have them go home and look it up online. Or you can make them say you have to physically go to a hardware store, okay, and do it. Or you could have it as like a community-based instruction where you can have them actually set up a field trip and go to a hard store. You know, they have large hardware stores, chains all over that you can go to, and you can have them go there and look up these individual supplies. And you'll see some things they have on here are price, and sometimes it might something like for the paint, it will be coverage per bucket, so they'd have to look that up on the back of the bucket. Okay? Now, once they have this finished, they go to the next step. The next step actually in our project is measuring a room. Again, you practice it in school, okay? You use tape measures or you use rulers, and what I normally do is I have them measure, you know, measure the floor. You can also have them measure the wall because remember they have to measure the height and they have to measure the length of the wall. I always stress safety when they do it, have an adult help them when they do this at home because they're going to take home their blueprint rough sketch. So what they're going to do is they're going to go home and they're going to measure the height and length of each wall, and they're going to draw out 4 little boxes on here, and they're going to actually you know, write in the measurements of it. Because this is going to be like a rough, you know, rough sketch for the actual project they're going to do. And you'll see when you download this, it comes with an example. So the kids take it home, let's say for homework, then they have an example to go by. All right? The next step would be finding the surface area of the room. Now, the next 3 steps actually, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, it's going to be student-specific how you want them to do it. You can have them calculated in school. You can have them do all their calculations in school and then go and do their poster at home. You might have them just do an example in school, and then once you do your example, you can have them do their actual final project at home. Okay, so I've done this different ways over the year. You know, one year I might have a kid do all of his work in school so I can check it because they might need a lot of guidance, and then he goes home and constructs the poster board. Well, another kid I might just do a couple examples. So what I like to do is I like to come up with an example and do almost the entire project in school as an example where they all sit down and do it. And then I say, okay, now you have your measurements of your room at home, and you also have your supplies for everything. So now I want you to go home and do it. And you'll see that in the project, there are color-coded instructions for everything to help them out. Again, it was developed for special ed kids, you know, chunk down the information, everything color-coded to make it as easy as possible. All right? But again, the next steps, one would be finding the surface area of the room, so they'd calculate that. They'd use their room, their rough sketch of their blueprint, and they'd come up with their final blueprint. Step 5 is going to be project calculation sheet. Here, they find out how much paint they would actually need by finding the surface area with your coverage, and they'd find out exactly the quantity of paint they need to buy, and also the quantity of paint tape they would need, okay, because you need a certain amount of tape to get around all those edges. And then last would be the final calculation sheet. The final calculation sheet would be taking all of your supplies, how much you would buy of each, how much it would cost, and finding the total cost of the entire project. And the last thing would be the poster presentation. Now, again, the good thing about my packet is that I also put an example in there. So I did the entire project, so kids will get an example when they go home so they'd have less questions. Okay? And that's it. If you had specific questions as a teacher, you could always go down to the comment box at the bottom of the website and at the bottom of this page, and you can ask a specific question about the painting project, and I can then answer for you. All right? That's it. Good luck.